How is everyone doing today? This is JD Temple, and I have my very, very dear friend JS Garrett here today. We're talking about a new video course that is already on the Become a Living God website, and this is going to be a phenomenal video course. There is going to be a huge demand for it because there's a huge demand for the ritual for hire for this. And this is the Rite of Deification video course. How you doing, JS, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you coming on and chatting with me about this. It's always a pleasure. And we just released this course. It's available now at becomealiving.god.com. And I still have to roll out like a newsletter and everything that goes with it. But this is really cool. I've had a lot of demand for this ritual. I published it in the Anthology of Sorcery, Volume 3, over a year ago, and that came out, and people just kind of went nuts for this. Like, I wasn't even planning on doing ritual for hire at that point. You know, I was just a private practitioner. I wanted to kind of, keep to myself and stay in the shadows. And I put that out, and I started getting like emails and Facebook messages, and people were writing the help desk at Become a Living God asking for this right. So, Timothy just hit me up one day. He's like, hey, let's put this in the catalog and see how it does. All right, cool. That'll be interesting. I figured I get booked once in a while, and then I started getting booking after booking after booking. And I'm like, holy shit, man. And a lot of people were asking for a video course on this to see how the rite is performed so they can do it for others. And a big question I was getting is, can a person do this for themselves? And so I did a lot of experimentation, and I developed 2 solid techniques that a magician can do in order to perform this rite for themselves. And I demonstrate that in the course. It's extremely difficult to find a magician who can perform this rite for you. And not everybody can pay someone like you or I hundreds of dollars to do it. So if they want to check this out, then I show them exactly how they can do it for themselves and get the same benefit. So,
Well, if you would, because I know that there's, most people that follow Become a Living God are very familiar with this rite. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I would say, or I'd venture to guess that, because I've seen you come along since this rite was published in the anthology. This rite is hugely responsible for what you have become now and the success that you've had and the magical strides that you have made. Well, I'm really not even strides, like leaps and freaking bounds in like a year and a half's time. It is just insane. But, for those that have not, they don't know the details of the rite of deification, could you give us a breakdown of the mechanics of this rite and how you perform it, and what the intended purpose is and that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is relatively simple, what I do. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of work involved. It's very painstaking, right? But the mechanics of it are pretty simple. So essentially, what I do is I will have the client lay down and go to sleep on their end about an hour before I perform the rite. When they're sleeping, this goes a lot smoother. It's a lot easier. So essentially what I do is evoke them out of body, like literally pull them out of body, like I would evoke any other spirit into the triangle. And then I offer them a blood sacrifice. A sacrifice is burning flesh and blood to their spirit, to that person. I sacrifice to them the same way you would sacrifice to a god, and in turn they become godlike through honoring them in this way. So what it is it's a massive energy transfer. Whenever a creature is sacrificed, or whenever a creature dies, period, an explosion of life force energy is released from that body. And when this is done in a ritual setting, that energy can be contained and then absorbed by the entity that you are sacrificing to. And with each sacrifice that you make to an entity, it becomes more and more powerful, more physically solid on this plane. And so my thought behind this is, if we're indeed living gods in the flesh, then why couldn't we sacrifice to each other in order to make each other more powerful. And the rite was channeled to me initially by the being known as Shemyaza, and everything that entity has channeled me has been mind-blowingly effective. So yeah, I had to test it out. So I tested it out on my wife. She volunteered to be the first guinea pig for this, and the results that she got were phenomenal. You know, we didn't really know what to expect from this, and I talk about that in the anthology. Most people are familiar with this story, but yeah, it seems to enhance a person on every possible level. You know, I make a sacrifice to them while they are present in the triangle. I allow their spirit to absorb that life force energy, and then I send it back to their body. And that energy then transfers into their physical body, making them look younger, more physically strong, more vitality. I can't market this as a cure for any type of illness, but you'd be surprised like how many of my clients are sick whenever, or injured or ill, and then magically get better after I do this for them. It's pretty phenomenal. So it's like I transfer that energy into you, and the energy kind of goes where it needs to go. So naturally, if a person is struggling with illness or injury, then putting a large amount of energy into their body is going to facilitate self-healing. The other thing that people report across the board, other than having a lot more energy and needing less sleep, is magical enhancement or enhancement of their psychic abilities. People start dreaming really heavy. People start having premonitions or picking up on other people's thoughts when they're in their close vicinity, as well as being able to transfer energy, through what we were talking about in our energy session podcast. So it really seems to affect everyone slightly different, because we're all different in how we handle things, but people report overall enhancement. I've got people that I did this right for a year ago that are still sending me emails talking about, holy crap, I just realized this, or they'll send me pictures of themselves. Like, I've got the picture they sent me when I did the rite, and then I've got a picture of them now, and it looks like a totally different person. Like, fat people lose weight, skinny people gain weight, people's bald spots are growing back. It's pretty cool. Like, my hair was getting like really thin before I had this done, and now it's like growing back nice and thick. Same thing with several clients that had like bald spots from like injuries or from being sick or something like that, and their hair just spontaneously grew back. So it really, I don't think there's much I can't do with this, because once I have the person's spirit present, I am able to essentially petition that person's spirit directly to utilize this energy to accomplish said goals. So I've had like a lot of success with like drug addiction and alcoholism. Like I had a client who was a raging alcoholic, and that was part of what they requested. They wanted to stop drinking. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I've never had a request like that, but let's see what I can do. So once I had them present and I made the sacrifice to them, I essentially commanded them. I actually said the words, by the power of Shemyaza, I hereby command you to stop drinking. Period. That's all I said. And they haven't had a drink since. So whether, you can't really deny that something is going on here. I mean, I've eliminated placebo effect because I've done this to people without their knowledge, simply to see if they would get the same results, and they had. I had a client whose his wife was suffering from chronic pain. So he books me to do the ritual. And I'm like, well, did you tell your wife you're going to do this? He's like, hell no, she'd never let me do this, I'm like, okay, cool. Don't tell her, and, just see what happens. So she's completely unaware that anything's taking place. So that completely rules out any placebo effect. I did the rite for her, and she woke up pain-free the next day. And it's been like 8 months, and she's still 100% pain-free. So that's really cool. It's phenomenal. So yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that. Results like that are really like the reason that you and I do what we do every day. And it really seems like this is like real, like esoteric science here. Like, you are really like tapping into the knowledge and the wisdom and the power and the magic of the ancients. And you are really fine tuning this, and I know that you've experimented a lot with it, tweaking it here and there, and
Yeah.
you've really been able to do some amazing, amazing things with this rite. And I mean, this is still, without a doubt, this is my favorite. This is my favorite ritual to perform. This is my favorite ritual to be the receiver of, and we've done it for each other several times. And
Yeah.
I've certainly transformed without a doubt. I mean, I think that I am probably in the best shape of my life, I would venture to say. I really, really feel great. I feel like comfortable in my own skin, I think, for the first time in my life. And as far as my psychic abilities, my magical ability, I mean, you can, I've got a track record, a history that's documented that you can go back and take a look at on YouTube, on my own channel and on Bald, and you can see the changes. You can see, how I've transformed, and I really do accredit a majority of that to this rite. I mean, I put some work in, yes, but this gave me that extra edge that I needed. This was true alchemy, and I think that this was really like my first real like tangible experience with magical alchemy, and like things changed inside of me that I just don't really know how to put into words or how to explain. But it's like you said, it's something that it doesn't stop. The transformation does not stop after the rite. The transformation does not cease once, that high has waned a bit, months and months later. Like, you still are reaping the benefits from it, and it's still kind of like building a momentum. And it really, to me, it doesn't really seem like it really has an expiration date, so to speak. But I do know that when we've done it again, that it only empowered that first working. So, it's something
Yeah.
that kind of grows exponentially.
Yeah, it is an ongoing change. The initial energy transfer does create like a euphoric feeling, like almost like being high without taking any substance, only it's a very clear-headed, energetic high, where it's just like you are, high on life, or whatever, however you want to put it. But yeah, so after, that usually lasts about 3 months, where you only need about 2 hours of sleep. You got lots and lots of energy pinging off the walls. And, after, some say 3 months, some say it lasts for 6 months. I think it really depends on the practitioner, like how much of that energy they're utilizing in their daily lives. But even after that starts to wane a bit, like the psychological changes, the spiritual changes, the doors that opens, that's all permanent. And I've got folks that I've got people that have hired me to do this 5 and 6 times, and they say that it gets better every single time. And if you think about it, I mean, that's like I think that's how gods were created in ancient times. They would. That's why religions like Christianity have been driven to commit mass murder throughout the centuries, because every witch that they burned at the stake was a sacrifice of burning flesh and blood to the Christian God. And as a result, that religion has conquered a large part of the world. So there's definitely power in sacrifice. It's not a symbolic gesture like people think. It's a very scientific thing that is taking place. You are taking the life force energy of a living creature and putting that energy into a deity or a person or into a goal that in turn manifests that in the physical world. So it's very, this is all science to me. None of it's hooey, really. So yeah, I created a way that people can do this for themselves, and that's something I want to talk about a little bit in this video. Most people that are going to watch this are familiar with how I do it for someone else, but I've developed 2 ways a person can do this for themselves. One is to evoke yourself in the third person. where you will speak the same conjuration that you would use in order to evoke someone else, only you insert your name into that conjuration. And you will speak that over and over and over again. And I've done this multiple times. And what happens is you will start to feel disoriented when this happens. You will literally come out of body into the flames in the triangle in front of you, and your physical body will just remain conscious enough to carry out the sacrifice. And it's pretty cool. Like every time I've done it, I've had to do it like on my knees. Like I'll be walking circles around the campfire, summoning myself. And then I will literally feel like all of my energy and life force like come out of my body, and I will get dizzy and unstable. And I'm like, whoa, shit. And so I end up like crawling around on the ground to like sacrifice the chicken and stuff, and then offer that into the fire. And then after that is fully incinerated, I will call my spirit back into my body. I'll essentially dismiss myself to return to my body. And you feel it. You literally feel it come back into you. And the first time I did this, I wasn't sure if it worked, but I was like vibrating at a really high level. I felt really good, but I always feel that way after doing this for even someone else. And I've discovered that for some reason, sleep is necessary in order for this energy to transfer into the physical body. So I stumble in the house, I take a shower, I go to sleep, and I wake up like 2 hours later, my heart's pounding out of my chest, and I'm all restless. And I'm like, I get up and I'm like walking around the house all like, and I'm like, holy shit, it worked. It actually worked. I can do this for myself now. So it's totally on now, That's one way you can do it. The other way is to transfer the energy from that sacrifice through a sigil. Okay, now there are a lot of sigils that transfer energy, but there are two in particular that I utilize for this. One is the one on my shirt here, the what I call the master key that was given to me by Shemyaza.
I love that sigil so much.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
those shirts are available on the site now as well, right?
Yeah. I sent this to Timothy. He got it printed on some T-shirts, and those are available now at Become a Living God. We're actually selling them. It's pretty cool. It's only been there for about a week or so now. But yeah, so you can transfer energy through this seal. So what I'll do is I'll print it out on a piece of paper like this. Usually a little bit smaller than this because it has to fit into a bowl. And I will charge and open that seal by staring into it and vibrating the name of Shemyaza. And what you're doing is you're evoking Shemyaza to facilitate this, to help you transfer this energy into your body. And then I will place the sigil into a bowl after I've opened it, and I will make the sacrifice dedicated to myself. I will spill all of the blood into the bowl on top of the seal, and then I will place that seal with the blood into the fire, and then I will place the body of the sacrifice on top of it. And then you just sit back and allow the energy to transfer. Now, you will know without a doubt that this is happening because it feels like you are slowly absorbing a lightning bolt into your chest. Like you literally feel like someone hooks a damn prong up to you and pumps you full of electricity. That's really cool. It's hard to sit still when this happens. Like the first time I'm like sitting there doing all this stuff, like trying to hold still, like my muscles are twitching and convulsing on their own. And so that's another way to do it. And the other way is to utilize, see if I've got one up here. Yes, I do. Utilize the sigil of Astarte or Ishtar. People don't realize it, but you can transfer energy directly into people through this sigil as well. It's something I discovered through working with her. What I will do is I will write the person's name and birthday in the center of the star, and then I will either put my own blood or the blood of a sacrifice onto the sigil and burn it, and it transfers directly into that person. So you can utilize this for yourself with deification as well. In this case, you would simply write your name in the center of the star, spill the blood of the sacrifice, and then place that into the fire, and same sensation. It's like slowly absorbing a lightning bolt through your chest. That's they're both of those techniques, whether you're doing yourself in the third person or using the sigil, they're pretty equally powerful. And as far as which sigil you use, whether it's this one or the sigil of the goddess, I would say that's entirely personal preference. Some people would prefer a male, masculine spirit like Shemyaza. Some people would prefer a feminine goddess like Astarte. I suggest doing it with both of them. Their currents to me really seem to be one and the same, almost like a male and female counterpart that works together. And I also believe that Ishtar was the first deified human being through this technique. Michael Ford writes about this. He's the only one that I've seen that has ever written anything about these two entities being associated together. And I found this by Googling their names together, you know, Shemyaza and Astarte, because both of these entities came to me around the same time and were giving me similar information. So I'd put two and two together that they were associated, and it kind of felt like they were like married or something, you know. And so I start Googling and doing research, and I can't find anything. And I think it was like the third or fourth time I typed that into a search engine. I found like a little piece that Michael Ford had written in one of his books, saying that Shemyaza, you know, initially fell to earth for the love of Ishtar, and then divulged to her the secret name of God, through which she used that knowledge to ascend to the heavens and become the goddess Astarte. Now, I think that what that means is that he gave her her true name, which would have been Astarte, and deified her through sacrifices, like probably through human sacrifices on a massive scale. And she literally became so powerful that she transformed into this immortal being that became a fully deified goddess. That's what I think that means. Now, obviously, I don't condone human sacrifice in our modern day and age, but you can get quite a bit from something like a chicken or a serpent or something like that. So yeah, I highly recommend experimenting with this. The sky is really the limit. I'm still figuring out what all you can do with this, and I love it when people get back to me online. They're like, "Hey man, I tried this, or I tried that, or I tweaked this like this," you know. And I love hearing that. I think that I really think we can do just about anything with this technique. So, oh yeah, check it out.
And, you know, I think what's so exciting about this video course is that, you know, even, you know, a practitioner that is not familiar or well versed with blood sacrifice is going to be able to do this, because they're going to be able to, you know, you're going to walk them through this process step by step, and they'll be able to really kind of do this along with you in
Yeah.
some instances.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to film a course that anyone could pick up. Even if you've never practiced magic a day in your life, my goal was for you to be able to pick up this course and recreate this ritual. Whether you're an advanced magician or someone who's never done a candle magic spell, it's not going to matter. I literally film and walk you through everything step by step. I show people how to lay out the deification circle. I show people every implement they're going to need and explain exactly what that's for. And then I demonstrate everything multiple times. My preliminary rituals, I literally demonstrate how to sacrifice a chicken. And I performed this ritual for a client who was nice enough to allow me to film it to give an example. And then I also perform it for myself in the course to give a full example of how a person could do that. So I really feel like I've covered all my bases here. I've sent this out to a couple of people. A couple of people have purchased it already, and they've gotten back to me, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, you answered every question that I had. That's really all we need is this course in order to perform this." So that was my goal.
So, I mean, it sounds like, you know, anyone out there that is diehard serious about their spiritual ascent, about knocking like literal years off of your spiritual ascension, this video course is really a must have. I mean, this is something that they should jump on right away and utilize, and really help to empower themselves in every way, you know, magically, physically, emotionally, sexually, even.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's helped me in all of those areas. And, you know, I would certainly say that I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, with if not for this rite. So I would say this is definitely something that people need to take a hard look at, and jump on this opportunity to get this video course while they can.
Yeah, you know, I would say that anyone who is serious about getting their hands dirty and really putting forth the necessary time and effort to obtain real power. This is definitely a great way to do it. Obviously, it's not the only way to obtain magical power. I know a lot of people will like to argue, oh, well, you don't have to, make blood sacrifices in order to do this or practice magic. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me look at this person's personal life and see what they've accomplished by practicing in the armchair. And I've never been impressed. Okay. So I will definitely say that this is not for everyone. If you are squeamish, if you have a moral objection to blood sacrifice, or if you're afraid of poltergeist activity, this is not for you. Okay, it's not for everyone. But like I said, for those of you who are willing to really push the limits, I think I've given people a great tool in order to do that here. So, yeah.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to checking it out, and I want to do this for myself as well. So I'm definitely going to be getting that video course here in the next few days, and I encourage everybody else out there to do the same. And as always, JS, it was a real pleasure, and I am excited about this course. I'm excited about the future. I can't wait to do this right again. So I'm psyched, man. I'm psyched.
Oh yeah, brother. Well, thank you. And yeah, we're always making new discoveries here. The work that we do together, it's hard to find someone who will actually do what they say they're going to do. If they say, okay, we're going to do a group experiment, we're going to be here at this time and do this. Most people just aren't competent enough to do that. So you and I have done some real hardcore experimentation, and we've gotten some real hardcore results. So yeah, that's another reason I wanted to put this out, is because it encourages magicians to work together in order to make each other more powerful. This is an exchange of power between two sorcerers when they agree to do this right for each other. And we don't see a whole lot of that. We see a lot of competition. We see a lot of people fighting amongst themselves, trying to outdo one another. And that's really counterproductive to what we're trying to do here. I think most of us want to see a different world. And the only way we're going to create that is by coming together. So this is a great way that magicians can do that. So yeah.
Well, it's like you said before, it's there's a new breed of sorcerer on the horizon, or there is a new breed of sorcerer that is here already. And I think that you have played a key role in that. And, I can't thank you enough for all of the work that you've done and everything that you have brought to the table, and to, the magical community by and large. My hat's off to you, man.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you. Well,
and yeah, and I wanted to thank you again for coming on here with me. And this is something that, if you are serious about your magical workings, if you are really serious about your spiritual ascent, really need to go to becomealivinggod.com and check out J.S. Garrett's Rite of Deification video course. He'll show you step by step exactly how you can do this right at home.
Oh yeah, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will see you all next time. Take care.